Hey viewers and viewresses, my name is General Red Strategist. Welcome back to Sir You're Being Hunted. This is episode 263. So, remember of course in the last episode, which admittedly was actually quite a while ago, well, when I say quite a while ago, what I mean is my last recording session for Sir was actually quite a while ago. So, for a second I actually forgot where I was up to. But of course you remember in the last episode we actually completed the spy challenge, which was pretty good. It's nice to actually, you know, for once, be actually completing some of my challenges for a change instead of failing them, which you know what I'm like. I always friggin' do that every so often, since I'm such a bit of a scrub even now after playing this game for so long. But for this episode, you know, for 263, we're not really going to do a particular challenge. This is just going to be a kind of podcast style episode as usual, which, you know, I'm just going to sort of wander around, not really do anything, I don't think, and just talk, you know, have a nice little admittedly one-sided conversation, as these podcast-style episodes always usually turn out to be. So I hope you guys out there, you know, I hope you're all doing very well. Like I said, my last recording session for Sir was quite a while ago. So, yeah, that was, yeah, just a matter of really actually just reminding and refreshing my mind as to where I was up to, because I couldn't quite remember. But, obviously, you know, as the moment I record, this is late August now. The summer holidays are starting to wind down. Obviously, you know, I'm off work at the moment, but as of the moment this video, well, as of the time this episode goes out, I'll be back at work, most likely. But yes, so, you know, work has released the schedules for the coming academic year, and yeah, the first week actually is pretty simple. It's just a lot of essay marking, so that's going to be fun, if a little boring. It doesn't matter, you know, it's a nice relaxing start to ease in. Technically I do have some essays at the moment that I need to actually get round to marking, ones that I was given, well, I was about to say given to mark over the summer. The administrators were actually quite clear, though, administrators at where I work, that is, that I didn't actually need to do them over the summer, because the deadline they set for me to mark them is actually early September, so it's not like I actually have to do them straight away. I can, if I wanted, I could if I wanted to leave them a little bit, but I don't think I will. Just because, obviously, with the fact that my first week back at work is going to be down for essay marking, I don't want to be leaving that. Well, the ones that are outstanding, I don't want to be pushing them back and leaving them until I get a sudden huge other batch that comes in. You know, best to divide these things up into little bite-sized chunks. That way they're manageable. Sorry, I'm rambling about stuff that you're probably not even interested in hearing about, to be honest. But yes, one thing actually that I did want to talk about in this episode, because not for any particular reason, I guess. I was just sort of thinking about this morning. But you know, as an academic, I'm very much interested in the art of debating. Let's put it that way. So here's the thing, you know, because I'm from a sort of social sciences background. Well, I say from a social sciences background, I am in the social sciences. I'm, you know, my specialty is kind of international politics and security, that sort of thing. But because obviously I'm from that kind of background, you know, for academics of my kind of type, I'd say, to put it that way, our kind of seminars and our typical sort of approach to teaching is one that very much emphasises discussion-based learning, getting students basically to actually talk, not just with the tutor, but with each other as well, and actually sharing knowledge and generating understanding of topics through dialogue. Now, of course, that's something which I've talked about before in a previous Sir You're Being Hunted episode, I think. Was it that Tips for University episode? I think it was that one, wasn't it? Where I talked about this exact same sort of thing. But you know, I was kind of reflecting a bit on that actually just this morning, and I kind of got on to thinking about the art of good debating, and I thought, you know what, that'd make for an interesting topic of conversation, wouldn't it, in a video of mine? Because that's the thing, you know, in those kind of discussion-based learning environments like you get in university seminars, or indeed not just in university seminars, but perhaps, you know, in all kinds of walks of life, of course, you engage in a lot of debating with other people, debating different perspectives, different points of view, things like that. And it's just interesting to think about this sort of thing in light, of course, of the sort of world that we live in today, especially with the internet and that kind of thing. Because of course, you know, for a certain class of people out there on the internet, the art of debating is a bit sort of strange. Because of course, I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting my words all minced up a bit here because I'm so concentrating on getting that device piece. Let me just pause for a second and actually just try and rethink what it was I was trying to say. Apologies, by the way, if you can hear my washing machine going in the background. I've got, you know, a load of clothes in there at the moment, just slowly but surely getting there. So if you do hear any noises in the background, that's what it is. But yeah, what was I saying? I was saying, you know, a lot of people on the internet, at least, you know, from my experience, obviously I can't speak for everybody, but whenever I've kind of gone onto sort of internet political discussion forums, things like that, admittedly I've never kind of participated in them, but I've read through them, and you know, having read through quite a lot of them before, I sometimes feel that for a lot of people on the internet, their understanding of what debating is very different to mine. Because the thing is, I think a lot of people, when they think about debating, they think that what they have to do is they have to go in there with a preset argument that they're going to defend, and they have to defend it to, you know, defend it to the max. They have to defend it against all costs, whatever, you know, whatever counter argument may get thrown up against it. And you see, I'm not going to disagree that sometimes that can be the purpose of a debate, but for me, that's not really the be-all and end-all of debating, because from my own kind of viewpoint, my own understanding, I always felt that debating is not just about proving or disproving certain perspectives or points. It can also be about just expanding your own understanding of things that are going on in the world, things like that. And in that respect, I always felt that a kind of key part of good debating is not, you know, necessarily about just disagreeing with everything your opponent says and basically just trying to force across your point of view and try and, you know, just prove that your point of view is the correct one. It can also be about maybe trying to understand where other people are coming from, people who have different perspectives to you, and also trying to understand why might they have reached those conclusions. And that for me is a key part of debate. Even if it doesn't ultimately prove or disprove any particular point, I would say that if people go away from that debate at least with a kind of greater understanding of each other and each other's perspectives, then I would argue that that's not a bad thing. That's actually a nice result, because of course the thing is, you know, I don't know how other people feel, but sometimes on the internet it feels like it can be a right sort of melee, to put it that way, of people just coming in and just trying to kind of emphasise their viewpoint and just trying to prove that they're right and everyone else is wrong and things like that. And to me that's kind of problematic, because it's, I don't know, I'm not sure if that's really, if that really should be the kind of true spirit of a good debate. Because quite often, you know, you see these discussions that people have, and often they just descend into chaos and misunderstanding. People just insulting each other and all kinds of horrible shit. And I just think to myself, why are you doing that? Surely, because, you know, surely the purpose of a good debate is to try and learn about other people's perspectives. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to agree with them, but if you can at least try and understand where they're coming from, that can be a good thing, can't it? Yeah, because I feel like, you know, in today's world, sometimes you get a lot of people who just, I don't know, again, I can't speak for everyone here, and I could be completely wrong, but it feels like, you know, there's so many people, particularly on the internet, who don't really make any kind of effort to go into a debate with the aim of trying to understand the other perspective, well, the kind of viewpoint of the other party, or, you know, trying to understand why that other party might look at things the way they do. And that, you know, and I think particularly in today's world, where sometimes the political debate in certain quarters can seem so fractured, so divisive, I think it's more important than ever before that we, you know, have to approach debate from the angle of we're trying to understand each other's viewpoints. We're not trying to kind of just prove a point against all odds. That kind of thing. Whether we're talking about, you know, Brexit here in the United Kingdom, whether we're talking about, I don't know, race or something in the US, whatever it is that we're discussing, the world, you know, would be better if people actually really just made the effort to try and understand each other, rather than strictly just trying to go into a debate with the express aim of just doggedly trying to prove a point or disprove someone else's argument. That's the thing, you know, all too often you see that one person who goes into a debate with, I would say, you know, the wrong kind of mindset, and as a result things just get fractious, they get kind of tense, atmospheres develop, people start insulting each other, things like that, questioning each other's intelligence, and I think to myself, what the fuck are you doing, seriously? This is not how to do it. Come on now. But yeah, but like I said earlier, you know, I'm not disagreeing that part of the purpose of a debate, I'm not disagreeing that part of the purpose of the debate can be to actually, you know, determine a correct or incorrect viewpoint. You know, sometimes the outcome of a debate might well be that you decide that a particular perspective or a particular idea maybe isn't that valid, or whatever, and that's fine, you know. That can be the outcome. I'd always just say, just go into a debate with the aim of trying to understand where the other person's coming from. Because the thing is, you know, they may well kind of have experiences or knowledge that you're not that you haven't had access to, something like that. And it's always important to remember that. I mean, that's also one kind of reason why, certainly in, well, again, I can't really speak for other countries or things like that, but certainly in certain quarters, you know, like in universities, in business, wherever you go, there's been that kind of big drive for diversity and inclusion. Because a lot of people, I don't know, I always see, obviously, the kind of age-old debate, well, not debate, but rather the age-old kind of assertion from certain quarters on the internet that, you know, diversity and inclusion is all just political correctness and all this. And, you know, at the end of the day, why should, you know, say, someone of a certain ethnicity who is, you know, arguably very clever and who merits being given a good reward or a good position or whatever, you know, why should they just lose out to someone else just based, you know, on the fact that the other person is of a certain skin colour or something like that? You know, you've probably seen the kind of point that I'm trying to get at here. I should stress that, you know, these are not my own words or viewpoints, these are just kind of things I've seen before on the internet. But, you know, I always felt that part of the reason why diversity and inclusion is such an important thing is precisely because people from different cultural and ethnic backgrounds, you know, they may well come in with different ways of looking at things, and that can be kind of a good thing. You know, it broadens your understanding of the world. It broadens your understanding of how other people think, or how they see certain things differently to you, things like that. And that's, you know, I think is very, very important in the world. That's not to say, you know, that you can't perhaps question aspects of certain other people's viewpoints, especially, you know, people from other cultures. You know, feel free to question things that they kind of believe or that they agree with or things that they emphasise, but just bear in mind that the whole kind of purpose is, well, I mean, it's kind of going back in many ways to sort of 19th century philosophers here like John Stuart Mill. It's all about kind of including as many people in the discussion as possible, because by including as many people as possible in a discussion, especially when you have lots of people from different backgrounds, with different ideas, different cultural values, things like that, you know, you'll get a whole range of ideas, and that can actually be better for debate, because you then, well, you can then sort of sift through all these ideas, and you can have a real kind of in-depth discussion about which ones are good, which ones maybe aren't so good, things like that. So yeah, that's, I'm sorry, I wasn't actually I wasn't actually going to talk about the concept of diversity and inclusion in this video, but yes, well, I just sort of got on to that. That was an interesting little detour, wasn't it, everyone? But yes, you know, feel free to disagree with anything I'm saying if you want. Yeah, I'm not going to jump down your throat for it. Right. Oh, got a fine piece of game in there. We do have matchsticks as well. Or a match book, is it? Yeah, I know how to cook, thank you very much. Right, let's get my meat and let's get the hell out of here. Nice, there we are. Oh! Jesus, flew straight into me. And then flew into the chimney of that house and died, basically. Oh, right, oh, you're over there. That's where you've been all this time. Okay, you've seen me. Get up, please. Sir, there you are. There's a lot of robots around here and they're all shooting at me. Well, this would be a good way of bringing the video to a kind of climax, won't it? With having loads of robots just trying to kill me. You're still behind here, you are, of course you are. They're always behind me. And again, I think they might... they can still see me. Oh no, wait, can they? Oh no, they can't see me now, because they've gone down to the sort of slow pace. They're no longer running after me. Well, there we go. What the fuck? Grass that's kind of... You see that? Right, so look just below my kind of crosshair reticle there. See all that grass floating in the air? But when you look at it through the binoculars, the hill suddenly phases in. There's still a bit of grass floating in the air, though, which is kind of weird. Ooh, we found a bit of a glitch there, haven't we? Let's not look at that, okay. Let's not look at that immersion breaker, ladies and gents. Oh, there's a separate island over there. Okay, well yeah, that was an interesting little discussion then with me, General Red Strategist, about the art of debating, let's put it that way. You know, other kind of general tips, you know, for debating things like that are, you know, just be civil and nice to people. No matter, you know, what you're going into the debate with the aim of doing, whether that's proving a point, disproving another one, or just kind of going in there with an open mind to try and learn about other people's perspectives, things like that. You know, whatever you do, just be civil and polite. Because that's the thing, you know, internet debates, they can be so toxic sometimes. People, like I say, they just don't go in there with an open mind. They go in there with that attitude of, I'm going to prove a point against all odds, no matter what happens, even if I get presented with tons of evidence to the contrary. But, yeah, there you go. So, civility, everybody, is the key, and being open-minded. And when I say being open-minded, I mean being properly open-minded. I don't mean just, you know, making a token statement about how you're always open, then just going in there and arguing and arguing and arguing the same point over and over. But, you know, being kind of flexible, asking the other person, you know, to elaborate on their viewpoint, to try and explain what it is that they believe in and why they believe in that, what experiences have led them to those conclusions, things like that. Okay, right, I'm starting to ramble now, so tell you what, I'm going to wrap this episode up here. So this was just a short podcasty style episode of Sir with me, General Red Strategist, where I just yammer on about random things. So I hope you enjoyed that then, everybody. If you're not doing so already, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, links down below in the video description. If you're also interested in seeing me do anime-related content, go check out my General Red Propagandist channel, link also below. It's up to you if you want, if you're interested in that kind of thing. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share the video with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, whatever social media pages you may be signed up to. But in the meantime, I'm going now. Goodbye, everybody, because I also think that my washing machine may be done. I'm not sure. Goodbye, all. What the What the fuck? Oh! What the... I hear movement. Why is there movement? Nothing happened. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. I just reloaded the game and then bullshit just went down. Why? Who am I here? Oh! Why are you here? Oh my fucking god. Jesus Christ, that scared the shit out of me. Why did that happen? Holy fuck, that scared the absolute shit out of me.